the right decision leaving rap?
I did. Everything now that we see playing out was all the things I escaped. The car, the shine, the loon, Puff Daddy, Craig Mack,
Biggie Smalls.
the Biggie Smalls. So even though I made those decisions and it cost me money, that's why I got with Killer and gave me the money back. I didn't lose no money. It's destiny.
This whole Diddy's hire
ex-workers going on a press tour has been wild, and the information that they revealed is just too much for my ears. So one of them workers who actually testified in the Diddy trial has gone on a press tour trying to publicize his book, and he has left everyone shook from Cameron to Vlad TV to Mase, who had first-hand experience with Diddy. This dude, the Punisher, aka Sherry Hayes, has freak-off stories for day, one of which involves him getting off on Diddy. When Shy was hired, he didn't even know he was walking into that kind of situation the first time he got the call, according to his own words. Cassie hit him up under a fake name Janet and said it was her birthday, claimed her husband allowed her to hire a dancer, just a private party booking. She gave him the date, the time, and the address. He quoted her around $200. No red flags at first, that's just business as usual for him.
Like they was just hiring a regular party. Cassie hit me directly, said her name was Janet, and said it was her birthday. So her husband said she could hire a dancer. So I just booked it like a regular party. At the time, it was like $200. I gave her a quote. She said she was gonna be there with some friends. They gave me an address and the time to show up. And I'm thinking I'm showing up to do a party, just a regular little striptease for.
The way they found him, just regular SEO. Shy's business is tight. If you search male strippers for hire in NYC, his site pops up. So Puff and Cassie didn't target him specifically. They clicked a link, made a call, and he happened to answer.
My business is like SEO, so Google searches. So if you go online in the New York City area and you put in male strippers for hire or whatever, my website's gonna come up. So they just clicked on the website and called the number, and I just happened to pick up the phone. I don't think they were looking for me specifically.
Right.
I just picked up the phone.
Got you.
According to Cher, he pulled up thinking it was a private party, but the location was a high-end hotel, which is what continued for the rest of their professional relationship. We're talking Trump Tower, Essex House, and another spot on Central Park West. He couldn't even name off top. Every single place was next-level luxury. He said one of those suites, the London Hotel, was going for $30,000 a night. Just the setting alone told him this wasn't your average private event.
Along the lines of super high-end, super suites. One of the suites, man, in the London Hotel, it was so crazy. When I got out of it, I Googled it, and the joint was like $30K a night, yo.
Wow.
I never seen nothing like this in my life, man. The hotel room looked like, you know that scene in the Titanic when they walk in that ballroom and the stairway well comes down?
And when he got there, Cassie made one thing clear: this wasn't just a personal pleasure experience, it was a scene. Candles everywhere, all the furniture covered with white sheets, a single chair set up across from a large sofa, and that husband she mentioned would walk in later, sit in the corner of the room and just watch everything, and gave commands. Cher said Puff never spoke to him directly, not once. All instructions were passed through Cassie. If Puff wanted the angle changed, more oil applied, or the lighting adjusted, he'd tell her, and she'd pass it along.
Started with him in the room.
Okay.
It would only be me and her, and she said at some point her husband's gonna walk in, and I'm not supposed to acknowledge him, look at him, act like he's not even in the room.
Right.
So we'll be like on the couch, let's say on one end of the room, and then like on the far end of the room, it'll be like a table with a chair, and eventually he'll come in the room and like sit in the area across the room, like watching them.
At first, Sherry didn't even know it was Puff. In fact, it took him over a year to figure it out. It wasn't until he flipped on the TV in the suite one night and saw a welcome screen that read, "Welcome, Mr. Sean Combs," that it clicked. That veil-wearing man pacing in the corner, that was Diddy, and the woman Cassie. Everything made sense in one disturbing moment.
Pardon me, not how long did it take until you realized that it was Diddy?
Bro, like, I want to say like over a year.
Get the out of here. How long did you know till it was Cassie?
So the minute I found out it was Diddy, that's when I knew it was Cassie.
So it took a year for you to find out for Cassie as well?
Yeah, yo, okay. I didn't recognize it. Like when I jumped out of it, I did try to do the Google searches. Like I wanted to try to figure out who it was, right. But I'm Googling a married couple.
Right.
So every result I'm getting is not leading me to the right places because they're not married.
Got you.
You know? So then, and I never found out with a visual cue. It was a hotel, the ex's house, and I would get there, let's say 2 a.m, and sometimes nothing would pop off for hours. So in this case, they threw me in like an extra room in the suite. And just to get time, I happened to cut on the TV, but and the TV had a welcome message. So the TV said, yo, ex's house would like to welcome Mr. Sean Combs. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I had no idea, man.
So that's how you found out that it was Cassie.
What makes it worse, Diddy didn't just watch, he participated in his own twisted way. Sherry described Puff pacing back and forth without clothes except for a Muslim-style veil that only revealed his eyes, and in his hand, a bottle of Astroglide. Puff would walk, stroke himself, and make commands or gestures, never to Char directly, only to Cassie.
You know, it was obviously something he was into in terms of visually watching this, you know. So
what was being done with the Astroglide though?
I guess he's using it as lubricant to beat off. You know what I'm saying? That was, you know, he's pleasuring himself during the action. So I'm obviously he's using that for lube.
Do you consider Puff a cuckold?
Yeah, I mean the whole time that's what I thought it was.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it was.
It's because you keep using the word voyeur. This is cuckold activity.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, we're gonna step it up to cuckold.
Yeah. So I'm saying voyeur because that's what she said to me.
But it didn't stop there. In one session, after Sherry had been working with them multiple times, Puff escalated it. They were in the bedroom this time, not the living room. Puff started walking around the bed while Sherry and Cassie were getting into it. Then out of nowhere, Puff threw a stack of $100 bills on the bed and said, "I'm enjoying this." That money ended up being Char's pay for the night, $2,000. That was his standard rate per session. Sometimes he'd do 3-day runs Friday through Sunday and make $6,000 in one weekend.
So in the bedroom, he's in a closer proximity because he's walking around the bed. And at some point, like almost at like the strip club, he took like a stack of hundreds, just threw it on the bed while we was, while me and her was having sex, and we both was like, what's going on? And he just was like, nah, I'm enjoying this shit. And, you know, we just kept doing what we was doing.
Right.
Every single time I came, it was $1,200 or $2,000. But like I said, sometimes I could come 3 days in a row.
Right. So,
you know, so be $1,200, $2,000, $1,200 for that. You know what I'm saying?
For that session.
3 days. Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
But despite the cash, Sherry made one thing clear: he was never comfortable, especially after realizing it was Diddy. The paranoia kicked in heavy, not because of what was being done to him, but because of what could possibly go down. He'd grown up in Harlem. He'd heard the rumors. He even mentioned that at some point when Puff would speak, he thought he heard phrases like, "I wish I could enter him." His nerves were shot. He started popping pills just to get through the sessions, just to stay hard and finish what he was paid for.
The whole time I'm semi-paranoid. Like I wrote in my bro, for real, I got a hearing problem.
Right.
And sometimes when he would give her directions, I would hear like something completely different. Like he'll say, "Yo, I like the position you in," and I'm like, "Yo, did he just say I wish I could penetrate him?" Like, you know what I'm saying?
When asked if he ever went without protection with Cassie, Sherry said yes, multiple times. The first time it happened, Puff actually gave verbal permission, "Go ahead, have a good time." After that, it became routine, and every time he was required to climax on or around her, never inside. That was mandatory. The session couldn't end unless that happened.
At him, and he was like, "Yo, go ahead, have a good time." And I was wild reckless. I just was what it was.
So it's only one time you went raw. You repeatedly.
That was, let's say that was the 4th time, and then it was every time to the last time.
Got you.
He revealed all of this info on Cameron podcast, and his reaction was hilarious to say the least.
Man, I was just trying to come through to, you know, come up whatever way I could with that easy money, how I saw it.
Yeah, I ain't knocking you, my nigga. How was that though?
Shy described it wasn't just desire, it was a system, a machine that chewed people up behind closed doors. Sure never tried to get involved with Cassie personally. He made that clear. Even when Cassie said she felt comfortable with him, he understood it wasn't romantic, it was about functionality. She had to play her role for Puff's pleasure, and she needed someone she could tolerate to make the scene believable. Still, Shree knew the boundaries. He said he'd seen what happened when other dudes caught feelings that wasn't going to be him.
Also seen that you say Cassie said she felt comfortable with you. Did you take that as she liked you?
Not really. I knew it was clear, man. This was something we were setting up for her dude, right? At the time, I'm thinking her husband, because she said this to me the very first encounter, right? So I didn't think it was a personable, she's into me. But obviously, if this is something that has to be done based on their sexual fetish, well, she's going to do it with somebody that, all right, I'm comfortable with this dude, you know?
Right.
So I always took it as, however the vibe was, however things went, it worked for her. So that's why she said, I want to call you back, you know?
There was no jealousy from Puff, either. That's what made it even more twisted. Puff wasn't just allowing it, he was feeding off it. He wanted it. Did
Puff ever appear jealous while you guys were having intercourse or participating with each other?
Not at all, man. Not at all. It was like, like I told you, the focus was making sure he got the right visuals, the lighting was right, put more baby oil on. Like he was into it from an enjoyment standpoint, not. Yeah.
So, but you saying he basically never was jealous. Cassie ever reach out to you without Puff?
Nah.
Didn't stop there. Sure even claimed that Diddy once asked him to bust on him, and now Mase, who worked very closely with Diddy, is reacting to this entire mess. The pain and trauma that came from being associated with that label was too real, too deep.
The right decision leaving rap?
I did. Everything now that we see playing out was all the things I escaped. The car, the shine, the loon, Puff Daddy, Craig Mack, the Biggie Smalls. So even though I made those decisions and it cost me money, that's why I got with and they gave me the money back. I didn't lose no money. It's destiny.
Mase said that he is also ready to visit Diddy in jail if he tries to drag him into this mess.
Next week, I want to put it out to the fans. I'll let the fans vote on it. Unless you want to vote on it, they asked me to come to the Diddy trial. You think I should go this week?
It's up to you. I don't know your relationship.
No.
What is your relationship?
Why you gotta use relationship as a word?
I mean, that's what it is. I don't know what else you want me to say. How y'all cool or not cool? I don't know what else you want me to say.
Nah, just a few people reached out to me, asked me, was I going out? I was trying to figure out a way I could go at least a day.
What's the question? Am I going?
Yeah.
I'll go with you. If you going, I'm gonna go with you. If you going, I'm gonna go with you.
Yeah.
Just me randomly going? Nah, I ain't going by myself. If you gonna go.
Trust the internet has a lot to say about this nasty mess. One user said, Puff pacing back and forth beating his joint has to be traumatizing. While another said, well, Diddy mask has fallen off, he now has to deal with the consequences of his actions, which means he will suffer mentally and physically, and the jailhouse will be his home. What's really going on behind the scenes here? Let us know your take down in the comments, and if you're all about the unfiltered stories and straight up talk, go ahead, tap that like, hit subscribe, and check out what's coming next.